Good afternoon, I'm Chief Meteorologist Sabrina. Noticing that rain in northern and central California, it is on its way to your doorstep. Coming up, we break down the timing. You're watching CWC. Well, dealing with a storm system that is on its way to Southern California. Right at about 62 degrees, you can see your dew points into the 40s. That will increase, eventually leading to some rain as well. Broad look what's happening. We still have this low pressure system moving right now throughout Central California. All of the rain getting squeezed out ahead of the cold front. That front will be in our neck of the woods by Friday morning. So we're going to have rain all the way until it clears the area, and then high pressure trying to build in for the weekend to warm things up. Here we go, breaking it down hour by hour. 11 o'clock tonight, there is a 10% chance of rain. So it's not a lot. You can see this model indicating most likely staying out toward Orange County, but you'll see some of those clouds increasing. Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., still a 10% rain chance. So I don't think you need to set your alarm clocks too early. Most likely the rain staying out over toward North County, if anything, Camp Pendleton, and even through the Fallbrook area, possibly out toward Julian. By 8 a.m., we're going to increase that chance of precipitation ever so slightly as that system gets closer to Southern California. But it is noon. We'll go ahead and put a 40% rain chance. That generally means scattered showers for everyone, whether you're in Valley Center, Escondido, Poway, even all the way down toward Chula Vista and National City, dealing with some of the light rain. We're not seeing any yellows here or reds, so this is not going to be tremendous rain coming on down. It's just going to be really a generally light, a little bit heavier than sprinkles, but we'll go ahead and call it a real shower. By 5 o'clock, that precipitation now about a 30% chance, and you can see first off to dry will be the coast around Oceanside and even through Carlsbad. Still dealing with the rain though coming out over toward Hamul, Lakeside, and down through El Cajon. It's going to be Friday morning. Now you can see that front sliding through, so pretty much the rain chance only at about 10%. Those clouds quickly clear out, and Friday afternoon looks pretty darn delightful with mostly sunny skies for you. And then once we head through about Saturday, now we're checking in about a 10% chance of rain as high pressure tries to nudge most of that moisture further to the north. Details on the wind coming up. In fact, a wind advisory goes into place at around 10 o'clock tonight for our mountain areas until Friday at 4 a.m. where we could see some gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. And here's the proof in your wind forecast. Starting off 10 o'clock tonight, already noticing them 39 in Mount Laguna, 36 in Ocotillo Wells. The coast and inland areas, though, not too impacted from this system. Instead, really just dealing with the rain because the wind staying predominantly around, I'd say, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Once we get closer to 8 a.m., wind speeds in Mount Laguna are up to 46. They should peak closer to around the noon hour. You can even see out toward Pine Valley and Julian into the upper 20s. A different scenario, though, by Friday when that cold front moves through, the rain comes to an end and so does the wind. So temperatures tomorrow with that cold front on the move, 64 degrees, cloudy skies, 40% chance of rain. Inland areas also into the mid-60s. Coming up, we talk about how much precipitation we could get. Jason?
All right, thanks.
For tomorrow, though, so probably not as beautiful of a sunset. Right now, the radar is sweeping clean. That is going to change, though, when we get a cold front on down. When we take a look what's happening across the nation, because we're not the only ones talking about rain. In fact, there is a plethora of moisture. In fact, everyone in the country going to be dealing with some sort of wet weather, at least most places are. Not only wet weather, but cold weather. You can see the area shaded in light blue, wind chill advisory. Minneapolis will feel like negative 20 to negative 35 degrees, and that lasts through around 1 o'clock on Thursday. Look at the area shaded in purple. Winter weather advisory stretching all the way back from California, pushing all the way through around Kentucky. Topeka, Kansas, anticipated to get around 1 to 4 inches of snowfall. And the area shaded in pink now including Denver. Winter storm warnings are up through Friday at around 11 a.m. 6 to 12 inches of snow. They're also anticipated wintry weather through the southeast. Atlanta could see some sleet coming in Friday or even on into Saturday. For us, with the storm system on down, snow levels are going to be about 7,000 feet. So we're just not going to quite get enough snow here in our local mountains, but we will see some rain. About 0.13 of an inch into downtown San Diego, maybe half an inch into Julian. We could see those values come up closer to around 1 inch. You can see that shading in blue there, right there on the foothills of the mountains, and maybe almost a 1/10 of an inch into Alpine. 7-day forecast with the rain in the area tomorrow, 64 degrees. It will be hazy. By Friday, we'll still stay 64, but the rain degrees, and you even could see an isolated shower. Let's look at your 7-day forecast. Jason, over to you. Moving through Southern California, getting ever so close to us. The cold front late Thursday night, early Friday morning. Breaking it down hour by hour. By 7 a.m., most of that action still out over toward Orange County. So if your travel plans take you into Irvine or Anaheim, you'll be traveling through some of the wet roads. For us, maybe Valley Center. Only a 10% chance of precip early into the morning hours. Once we get to 9 o'clock, still only 10%, so it's still okay for your morning commute. It's once we get to noon, now we bump that precipitation chance up to around 30 to 40%, covering all the way out over toward Del Mar into La Jolla and expanding now through Ramona. Your evening commute will be a little bit wet. But what's interesting here is notice we're not seeing any of the yellows or the reds. So not extremely strong rain in our forecast, just say steady showers for us. Coming down at around 5 o'clock into San Diego, Chula Vista, into National City, as well pushing out over toward Pine Valley. At 10 p.m., still keeping a 30% chance of rain, which generally means scattered showers this time for the southern half of the county. It'll dry first for the northern half. And by 7 a.m. Friday, when you wake up, that cold front will have moved on through. The rain will be gone, but the wind will be whipping. We'll talk about that element coming up in a bit. Jason?
Well, the number of...
We're going to let you know how that affects San Diegans.
We'll also let you know how the wind will affect San Diegans. There's a wind advisory up for our mountain areas, gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour, this lasting all the way through Friday at 4 a.m. Coming up, we'll talk about how temperatures respond with the rain and the wind. We'll be right back. With the rain moving in the area tomorrow, temperatures will still be fairly mild, about 64 degrees along the coast. Inland areas the same for you. Mountain areas 50 degrees after waking up into the 40s. Coming up, we talk about just how much precipitation will pick up. We'll be right back. Not picking up much. All the action heading out over toward, I'd say right around Santa Barbara. That's where they're picking up some of the precipitation, but boy, it's really delivering quite a punch to the entire state. The Sierra Nevada mountain range under a winter storm warning, that's going to last through Thursday afternoon. Snow in the mountains. 18 to 24 inches. That is almost 2 feet. Let's not forget about the rainfall totals as well. So just on the westward side of those mountains there, they're anticipating 1 to 4 inches of rain. But I should say this is just going to be storm number 1, because storm number 2 now looks like it's going to hit northern and central California, and it could bring them closer to about 14 inches of rainfall. And right now it looks like that second system is going to miss us, but nonetheless, a good thing for the entire state as far as rainfall is concerned. We're not the only ones dealing with the wintry weather, though. I want to draw your attention, really, the entire country is going to be engulfed in sort of a lot of the stormy activity. There's already a wind chill advisory for a good chunk of the northern tier from the Dakotas all the way through Minneapolis. You can see out over toward Rapid City, they will feel like negative 20 to negative 35 degrees through tomorrow afternoon. The area shaded in purple, winter weather advisory. St. Louis anticipating that they could actually end up seeing around 1 to 3 inches of snow. Also looking at wintry weather coming down throughout Georgia and even through South Carolina by the time they get through the weekend. So all of this really in part due to not only the fact that we're dealing with winter, but we do have a fairly strong cold front that is now moving throughout California. You can also see the jet stream that's going to deliver that storm number 2 for northern and central California, but it should miss southern California for the most part. We're just going to be dealing with a little bit of rain for tomorrow and colder air. I should say it's somewhat an oxymoron because temperatures will stay somewhat similar to where they are for this afternoon. So when it's all said and done, by Friday, we're anticipating maybe about 1/10 of an inch into downtown San Diego as well as into La Mesa. Look at Julian, though. Over 1/2 inch. And see this little spot in blue? There's some talk that we could actually see maybe 1 inch of rainfall right along the foothills of those mountain communities. Even the deserts, though, most likely, I think you could see a trace to a few hundredths of an inch of rainfall for us. Then we'll have high pressure build, and that's going to keep all of the moisture from the second storm system in northern and central California, and we should see a small warm up for the weekend. Heading into the water's poor conditions for you surfers if you want to still brave the rain. The swell out of the west only 1 to 2 feet with knee to thigh high sets. 7-day forecast, 64 degrees tomorrow, 40% chance of precipitation. It will be hazy along the coastline. By Friday, the rain ends fairly early, still staying at 68 degrees and returning to the 70s by Sunday. Let's look at your 7-day forecast.